Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Timothy the Blue here. Gonna finish up the league with Blue Belcher or Tamishi Belcher. We have the list here. I talked about why I'm playing this list and some of my thoughts on the meta in the previous video. We should be 2-1, not 1-2, but to be honest, I was falling asleep during this last round. I'm pretty sure there's actually a point where on the mic while playing, I actually fell asleep for a minute and kind of like came back to and was like, "Oh wow, I gotta focus up." So you see that last game there was very short, but it's because I made just a misplay, just completely missing a play, literally. Part of it too is that I've played a lot of more aggressive and active strategies where I'm able to pass on the opponent's turn, right? I've kind of gotten used to that as muscle memory of just like right click, yield through the turn. Can't really do that with Blue Belcher, and that's what happened is where I had like a shoal in hand and could have stopped a hollow one from coming into play. But I just passed through the turn. The 0-2 loss though was not misplays, it's just a deck we're not good against, and our 2-0 win was, even though I was half asleep by that point, still managed to win easily against creativity, so we're against the Russian guy. Which Russian guy? The Russian guy? We can't keep this one lander. If some number of these 2-drops were lands, it would be keepable, I think, but as is, no bueno. This one has can actually, cast spells, so we'll get rid of the second teachings because we have Tamishi. We don't really need to, although yeah, I think we can afford to do that. We got 3 lands still. So lead on teachings, then Seagate, Thunder Trap, and Hold Up Flare is our plan as is. Obviously, we'll see what we draw and what the opponent plays, and that will have play into what we do. Again, because we play Shoal, we want to play the 7-drop untapped source instead of the 3-drop untapped source. Great draw here, by the way. Could be a time walk for us. They go wide with, Ocelot, Pride, tokens. Bane Veil can buy us a turn. And if we draw a Shoal, we can use it to counter something. But as of now, they got their, guide into Ocelot, which is not great for us. Not having a second 1-drop to play that turn is good. This Bloom is probably never going to come off Suspend. It's just, they'll either kill us by then, or we'll have had to win by then. There's a chance. There's a chance again with this Veil. This Flare hits something. Thing is, they're usually not casting something post-combat, so they have to cast pre-combat, and we want to stop them from getting the Guide of Souls buff on the Ocelot Pride. See what we find here. Another Flare and a Belcher. I kind of wish this was what's it called? The Philagi, and this Belcher would go to the graveyard. Because we could take the Flare and let the Belcher go to the graveyard, which would be great because we have Tamishi. But as is, I think we have to take the Belcher. We do already have a Flare. We can't really support a second one. So we'll see how this goes. They have to play cards to buff this up to attack through this, but we likely will have to sack it and not be able to block in order to stop them from getting to that point. Ooh, they got a Bolt or Thunder Trap? Yeah, well, the better Bolt. Sorry. I miss the old days when we just had Lightning Bolt. So now they just need any creature to get the buff here. They're going to gain 3 life. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. So we could play Tapland, Bane Veil. Ooh, this is going to hurt. A Seasoned Pyromancer. Not expecting that guy. That'd be a good one to Flare of Denial if they hadn't killed our thing. Because it has haste and it also allows them to discard and refill their hand here. Although Bombardment would have been pretty decent. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's very close to getting the Ascending. The City's Blessing. Who sends this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will buff up 6, 7. So yeah, we have to Veil. Hope he doesn't draw another bombardment. Because we're just dead to a bombardment, right? Yeah, like I said, this isn't going to come off in time. The problem is with the Veil play here, yes, it keeps us alive, but maybe we only take 1, maybe 2 if he buffs someone else up. But then the following turn, it's not like we can do anything. Like we won't be at 7 mana. And yeah, we needed this bloom to be the turn before. I'm trying to think of what we could draw. We could draw another Veil, I suppose. We can preordain into another Veil. That's pretty much it. She doesn't do anything. War doesn't do anything. Counterspells don't really do anything anymore. So yeah, that's what we have to hope to do. If we take 2 this turn, they'd have to get... They could flage us down to 4. So drawing another Veil might not be enough if they get to flage twice. Flage and then escape it the following turn. With Arena, of course, so then super dead to flage. So we want to see like anything but flage or bombardment, and this Veil could save us. And then we hope to preordain into another Veil to survive until the bloom comes off, and with bloom and Tamishi we can definitely Belcher win. That is basically our only plan. Okay. I don't think we have a win that beats this. I don't think we have a line. 1, 2, 3, 4. He technically only has 4 other cards in the graveyard. So I guess we can hope he doesn't draw a fetch land, or another flage, or yeah, any land plus any 1 mana spell. They're taking a long time. This is all okay, and again, this is all based on the fact that like maybe I draw another Veil. Now that they're tapped out, I'm just going to do this to save time. Swing for 1. If he swings with another, like he can swing with the Ocelot or whatever and buff it up with Guide of Souls, I'll take 2. I'll go down to 4. So I'm dead, even if I draw another Veil, if he can get another Flage. This Flage can't be escaped until he gets 1 more card in the graveyard. So fetch will do it. If his other card in hand is a 1-drop and he hits his land next turn, that'll do it. So he's going to buff up the Seasoned Pyromancer. Interesting choice. I don't know why he isn't just buffing up Ocelot Pride. Like, we're Blue Belcher. I'm not playing removal. Against a different deck with removal, you don't want to buff up the Ocelot Pride. You want to make him remove the Seasoned Pyromancer so you keep the Ocelot Pride. Like, it makes sense in a vacuum, I suppose. But we're, like, again, you have to play against the opponent you're facing. Blue Belcher isn't going to play spot removal. So, yeah. We need to draw exactly Veil. We did not. We concede. Bottomed. There wasn't one for a long time. A long time. Wow. We play 4. Right? I didn't accidentally submit a list. Yeah, okay. We play 4. This is the matchup where we want our 4 unable to screen. And our portable hole. And I think I want 1 Soul Guide to try to stop Flage. Commandeer probably isn't worth it. What do they have? They basically just have like Bombardment. I guess if they're going to Galvanic Discharge us, we maybe could point 1 back at them. But back at one of their creatures. I don't think Force or Commandeer is as good against them as it used to be, and I think our flares are rough. We usually need to like be chump blocking. I could trim on a Belcher, keep Tezzeret. I think I'm gonna cut the Tezzeret. I know I've been cutting them in a lot of matchups, but that's because we haven't played any blue decks. And I think we just trim on preordains. Although I like 1-drops for our shoals. I mean, he's a 3-color deck. Probably want as many creatures as possible. I keep Tamishis because I'm bringing in Unable to Screams. I want as many creatures as possible. Worshul. Belcher. I think between everything, I'd rather trim a Belcher than a Bloom. And do I rather have 4th this or 2nd Harbinger? Or I guess flares really are just kind of clunky. Just cut flares entirely. Our interaction is now more permanent based instead of hoping to counter things. The reality is like the reason these are awkward is that by the time they're online, like that game, right? They already had Guide and Ocelot out, so it's like we're gonna die to those 2 cards, even if I can counter other stuff they play. Opponent is thinking. Yeah, preordains are nice with disrupting shoals, but I think I want to keep in all these 2-drop. Like I'm pretty creature heavy after sideboard here. I have 14 creatures. I gotta keep my blooms because I need to be as fast as possible. So our only counter spells are shoals, but that's because I can cast them for 1 with the screams. I got only 1, 2 lands. We don't, but we have a white source for Hole. So even though we usually want to work for this, this is decent. We can shoal for 2 and still Thunder Trap. We're probably gonna have to Thunder Trap to hit our lands, but being able to Portable Hole a Ocelot or a Guide on our turn 2 is nice and allows us to play this tapped, and then on turn 3 Thunder Trap for our 3rd land, if we haven't drawn it by then. So I like it. Hello, opponent. What are you doing? Well, sorry for all the dead time. Maybe they left. Okay, there we go. That was a long one on them. Okie dokie, here we go, Smokey. Taking a long time. I don't know if our opponent was really debating whether or not to keep their hand. They walked away from the computer. You know, sometimes you gotta go to the bathroom. It is what it is. But they're also taking a really long time with this surveil. So it seems like, okay, we're really good at drawing the blooms not on time. Because I didn't play anything, and because I can't like portable hole at instant speed, I am going to go ahead and bolt us to get the Thunder Trap. Hypo Scream would be nice. We do already have an answer, though, and I really need the land, unfortunately. And again, the Whir would be nice, but I'd have to draw my third land. There's some precedent to taking Veil. Obviously, we saw that it's can be a powerful card. If we draw some other land, we could keep it, but I think I want the option of having an untapped source next turn and just go fast into Tamishi, but we likely next turn are going to play this tapped and portable hole whatever they play. I guess I don't want to pass through the turn. I might shoal a 2-drop here if that's what they try to go with. Opponent not making any play? What is happening? What kind of hand did they keep? No Ocelot, no guide. Seems like a mistake. I'll go with this, honestly. Tamishi's not going to have any targets anytime soon. I'm not going to swing. There's like no scenario where I'm going to beat them down. Oh, Bowmasters. That makes more sense. It has Flash. But I mean, for a blue deck, we don't really draw many cards. We use, you know, Thunder Trap and Philology triggers. We don't actually draw cards. The 2 Preordains are the only thing in my deck that draws a card, I believe. I guess technically Tamishi does. On his first trigger, he draws 1 extra card a turn. But that's not a real thing. He might have prioritized this a little highly into a blue deck. It's not actually that good against us. The 2 bodies is fine, but it's not going to grow a whole lot. Bombardment, that's a little awkward when you have 0 creatures in play. But if his next play is a Johnny, it pays off. We kind of have the setup here to eventually do our next turn. We can bloom, cast a Seagate. I think I'm going to lead on Philology, see what we hit before I play my land or anything. Soul Guide Lantern. We'll leave that there. It's a target for Tamishi. I will play this out, and I am going to go ahead and just get rid of this Goblin Bombardment. Again, I'd rather Portable Hole hit something else, but this game we have the luxury of multiple blockers and no threats on their battlefield. So he's got a Thoughtseize now. Yeah, it sucks. We didn't really have an answer to Thoughtseize this whole game, so it's not like we could have played around this, but Tamishi is definitely the right choice. That being said, if we top deck a Tamishi, a Whir, or a Belcher, we're good to go. I mean, Belcher, we just have lethal next turn. Is this okay, Pyromancer? Okay. Do you see what I see? I would like to cast my Lotus Bloom. Belcher? No. Let's find a Belcher. This is a very long Belcher. 2 Tamishi feels bad. Would have much rather drawn them. Okay. Let's see. If I pass the turn, I can end step Waterlog's Teaching for Whir, but next turn that leaves me with 5 lands, so I can't Whir for Belcher without the Lotus Bloom. So I really have to wait a whole turn cycle to Waterlog's Teachings for Whir, use the Bloom and all my lands to Whir for Belcher. As is, though, I feel like I can survive a couple turns, so I think that's worth it. Play this out. I don't think there's really a reason to hang on to it. We have blockers for his whole team right now, which is nice. He has to, like, apply more pressure and doesn't have Arena right now. So, feeling pretty good. Discord might pop up here. Go over here, Discord. Go on the other screen. Sylvan Scrying, the one that lets you just go get any land? Yeah, 2 mana. Sorcery. Okay. Okay, opponent. You're really eating up a lot of clock thinking about what you're doing there, Russian guy. Sorry, the Russian guy. It'd be funny if it's an American woman. American woman. Some of these matches will be fast, and here we are playing a fast deck, and they've burned an extra 2.5 minutes sitting there and doing nothing. They're gonna take my teachings. There's no use in casting this in response, because then whatever I get, they will take, right? So, like, just let them take it. We got no tricks up our sleeves. I guess I can't afford it. Sometimes they have an exile effect, and we want to sack this in response, but there's really nothing else I would want to do. So I think they must have had the Ajani, which is why they led on bombardment. As things stand, I'm still like, I'd probably rather take the bombardment, although taking the Ajani would be fine. If he had played that first, I would have taken the Ajani, right? He would have just had the 2/1 token. Could trade for or just block infinitely, so feeling pretty good. We got a top deck well here. We put a couple Tamishis on the bottom of our deck. What did our first Thunder Trap see? I have to remember. I don't remember. I think both Thunder Traps saw Bayeen Veil. So we have 2 Bayeen Veils on the bottom of our deck, 2 Tamishis on the bottom of our deck, which isn't like ideal. But we haven't seen a Belcher. I think we had a bottom of Whir on the first one. Wish I could just rewind and look. You can just rewind and look, but I can't. Speaking of Bayeen Veil, I guess we'll hold on to this. Doesn't look like we're going to need it really soon. I guess now that he has a Johnny, he can attack, because, like, his cats dying are good for us. He has a red permanent, so he could do a bunch of damage to us. Oh. That's not good. We might be dead. And just like that, we go from being in a great position to dead. Let's see. Sack 1. We're at 16. Make a dude. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 10. And then he has 6. We're at 4. Huh. If he just kills this and then swings, I'm definitely blocking the Ocelot, because Goblin Bombardment means Johnny is going to flip anyway. Probably swing with everything but the Ocelot. Although then I can double block him. Ooh. Is that a slight mistake on his part? I think so. Well, let's do this. This will save us a good, 2, 4, 6, 7 life, which is very relevant when he has bombardment in a field full of tokens. He has 0 cards in hand. So I think we get to kill Johnny here. Oh no, he can yeah, never mind. Because we're taking 0 damage, I am going to do this. I think he can respond by throwing the token, and then it will exile and flip anyway. So we don't actually get to kill it. Really slow play here. Really hope to just top deck a Belcher. I mean, like I said, we bottom 6 cards, so we have out of 37 cards, we've seen 0 Belcher, and I think 1 more. Belcher isn't lethal though, because we only have 8 mana, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. It's going to do a bit of damage here. But we're not dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puts us to 10, and he could sack all of them to put us to 4. So we're not dead. The Ocelot is going to make what? He didn't gain life this turn, right? We stopped that from happening. Yeah. That's the other big deal. Obeying Veil makes sure he doesn't get that token because he would have made 1, 2, 3 tokens. And then been able to sack them all and kill us. I don't think Waterlogged Teachings does it. It might buy us a turn by 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd have to sack this though to go get and cast a Bane Veil. We can't cast it and we're in the same turn. I can't go get my portable hull because I already used it. Can I survive another turn? Let's say he top decks a land. He makes a dude. Dude does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage to me. He swings. I block 2 things. I do 1, 2. Oh. 3 more damage puts us to 2 life. So then I'm super dead to this. In fact, I'm dead with just 6 and then 6 sacks. Doesn't even have to attack. So Bane Veil doesn't even save us. I'm dead next turn, on board, regardless of what he draws. Is there anything I can get? Might as well cast it and see, because there's not anything else I can do anyway. And that's just, how the cookie crumbles. If Thundertrap had seen a Belcher instead of Tamishi, we would have won this game. The 2 Tamishis going to the bottom. If we had drawn one of those, we could have won. Not guaranteed, but we make a ton of mana and cast Seagate and draw, 7 cards and get to pass the turn holding up free counter magic, and this never hits the board. This never hits the board because we have flares and shoals and whatever. Four mana. I can get Sink into Stupor, bounce a Johnny. He replays it. He sacks this, flips it. I'm still dead. I can bounce a Bombardment. He replays it. I'm still dead. It's a token. I'm still dead. He has 2 red things, so I can't bounce both of those. Specimen doesn't do anything. It's not instants or sorceries. Whir can't get anything except just another Lotus Bloom. Yeah. We are dead. I mean, Bane Veil will stop combat damage, but I'm dead outside of combat damage. I'm going to get another Waterlogged Teachings, and then I'm going to cast that. And then I'm going to get another Waterlogged Teachings. Good game. The second game felt like we were supposed to win. The first game, he had a really aggressive start. We were kind of behind the whole time. Both games, or not both games. The first game, if I had the Lotus Bloom the turn before, we would have been able to maybe get there. The second game, we had the mana. We just need a win con. Well, we'll try to win this last one here. Although, if I lose it, I might not post this video, so I've been essentially just talking to myself this whole time. We shall see. On the die roll. We have 2 lands, 2 2-drops, and all our win cons. I think I'll keep. I like leading on the white source with a Tamishi in hand. With Philagi. We'll lead on Philagi. The Otter Lizard is surrounded by clams. Where's Thundertrap at? There's a minute where he was worth quite a bit. Everyone wanted to play with it. and no one was opening it. Thundertrap Trainer is... Oh yeah, he's worth 6. And, I mean, you can sell him for 4.7. He's worth a little over 6 tickets. What did I get him? Did I get him done at 1 or 2, or did I pay 5 or 6 for him? Curious. Could probably look back somewhere on GoBots. Maybe we could be playing the same deck, but this could be Goryos. This could be, yeah, could be a lot of things. Yet, we'll take. I guess I have to hit the land, don't I? Oh no, I drew a land. I think with the third land there, we can go with the shoal, especially because we can afford to lose this Thundertrap if we need to. We have our third land for Tamishi. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. This month I'm positive 736 tickets in value. That's I can't yield through the turn. Just wanna. This is what happens when you get your cards very soon after the unban. My Mox Opals, I think I got them when they were at 18 or 16. They now could sell for 58. Ugin's Lab I had from way before. They've gone up. Yggdrasil I bought specifically because I thought it would go up in value. Surgicals I've had for a while. And you can see they're plus 6, plus 68. Anyways. It's fun to look at. Yeah, I don't want this to resolve. Turns out, Psychic Frog sucks. At least to face. And I only like playing it in Goryos Vengeance decks. Everyone should only play it in Goryos Vengeance decks. Then it would be fine. We will play this. We will shock it in. Debating whether I want to just jam a whir now. It could get forced. But we have a second one. And if I'm making them use a force, I'm making them use 2 cards out of their hand, and we already beat a frog. So, oh, no. So we can't Tamishi this turn, though. I mean, I technically could cast it, but I want to cast it on a turn where I could use Bloom. Or do I? Do I want to just cast it now? Let's just get Tamishi out there. No. I probably wanted to wait. He could just get pushed now, but I was thinking about counter magic. I guess they're not usually playing a lot of counterspell anymore. They're usually on more Unearth, Thought Scour nonsense than they are the old counterspell meta. Yeah. I hope he doesn't get pushed. If so, that's it's a slight misplay. But again, because I have the white mana to start the loop, we can do that. The bigger question here is, do we want to risk going for it this turn, or just kind of do value Tamishi play? Can I generate 10 mana? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for it because I can go for it with Synchronous Stupor backup. I believe, if I did my math right. We'll see here in a second. If I did my math wrong, could just be killing ourselves right here. That's 10. 3, 9, 10, 12. So, we'll use up our white mana, some blue mana, and do this. It looks like he's just passing the turn, so. There we go. We got it. Turn 4 win, and we countered a frog. Not too bad, not too shabby. I think Soul Guide's pretty good against them, honestly. Most are on Unearth and Murktide. I try to keep him off Murktide, keep him off Oculus, which are just like brutal once they hit. Our force, we want our mysticals. Commandeer is a maybe. Do we want to bring in screams for frog? Do we want to bring in harbingers? These are the questions. Our flares are pretty average against them on most of the time. Flare, scream is effective on frog specifically. Disputes. Maybe just 2 soul guides. Bring in the portable hole. That does hit frog. It doesn't hit Oculus, so it could get clunky. And then typically against control decks, we actually go down some of our colorless spells here. Tezzeret is an all-star. Definitely keeping him in. Okay, we'll try this. I guess, I mean, Scream comes in if they have the Oculus. Which I just assume they do. We trim a couple Tamishi. Another Bloom. Play 61. 61 card special. Trim a Preordain. I didn't get it out in time. I should have trimmed both Preordains and maybe kept a Bloom. Excuse me. My Leyline of the Guild Pack is down to $1. Anyway. We have double Thunder Trapped. Again, because I have an answer to a frog as well as my first 3 land drops, I think this is fine. I'm not crazy about starting with Belcher. You know, it means it could get Thoughtseize and stuff. I'd rather draw that later in the game. But 3 land drops, Thunder Trap, plus being able to ditch the other Thunder Trap to Shoal, I think is pretty good. We notably don't have an answer to like Unearth on Oculus or Frog, but you know, we'll do what we can with what we got. We assume he's not turn 1-ing a 2-drop, so I'll just pass through the turn. We will play out our Suppressionist Ray. It'd be nice to hold up Dispute, but I want to be able to cast Thunder Trap on 2 more than I want to hold up Dispute. And because I have Shoal for 2, I think it's less important, less required. It's perfect here would be like Surveil and Oculus to the graveyard and have Unearth plus Spell Pierce next turn, or Dispute and be able to... Oh no, Unearth we can't even interact with. Thoughtseize? What a terrible art. I hate these arts, whatever they're called. I can't do anything about that. We're also not going to see a 2-drop this turn, so we will just pass priority. They took our Belcher. Surprise, surprise. Not really. I'm not surprised at all. Especially because, I mean, we do still have a couple Tamishis in, so that's fine. Ooh, decisions. Well, we have 2 more lands already. Don't think I need the Suppression Ray because I already have a White Source. The real choice is between Shoal or Scream. I think I'm going to take the Scream. Not only does it give us an answer to something, it also gives us a 1-drop to pitch to Shoal. So now we actually have like a response to something like Unearth. Could just counter it instead of having to cast the Scream on the thing. Most notably with Oculus, if they play the frog, if they like Unearth or Frog, we might just try to cast Scream on it. This is a deck where we'll actually swing with this. He might be holding up Orcish Bowmasters, just like our old friend. I'm gonna actually play this and take the Bolt because of holding up Mystical Dispute. I think it's worth it. I'm gonna lead on. Let's go with another Thunder Trap. Actually, we already have a Belcher in the graveyard. And now we can pitch the Phlogy to the Shoal. Ooh, Tainted Indulgence. So it's draw 2, discard 1. I think we'll just let that resolve and counter the thing instead. Might be wrong. Might be best just to... Yeah, an ephemerate. So wait, he probably is the frog. Or the Goryos list. Anyways. I think I'll take an extra 2-drop or it's extra shoal. I think I'll take an extra shoal. Especially if it's a Goryos list. I want more interaction. We'll start swinging. We have our plan here. In 7 turns, our opponent will be dead. If they do nothing else. This seems to, yeah, this and ephemerate means we're playing a atraxa build. That's not splashing red for Faithless Looting, which is surprising. Seems like that would be the thing to do. It's still eating our clock here, which is a little annoying because I clicked it a while ago. We've burned a lot more than our opponent this game. Some of that isn't my fault. Some of that was, you know, looking at other things. Getting distracted. Okay. That's nice. I think at this point, we'll play our 4th land just because if we want to be able to cast a Belcher if we get it. But we're just going to hold up a bunch of interaction. Scream is more here to pitch to Shoal. The Archaeologist is also to pitch to Shoal, and then Force can pitch whatever doesn't work with Shoal, and then we have Dispute for 1 mana. We also can Hardcast a Force if they just play one thing. At this point, next turn we want to do that. We could Hardcast Force with Dispute backup plus Shoal backups. Tamishi. I think it's worth playing him and not holding up everything because we're only 1 mana away from being able to just return this Belcher. So our opponent kind of has to answer this. Also adds to our clock and makes it not a 6-turn clock, but a 3-turn clock. So yeah, they have to dispute it. I could shoal away my Force, but I think I'm just going to dispute their dispute. There's a lot of disputing going on here. They have no more blue mana, so they have to have exactly like Force plus another card. And again, if they're going down to 2 cards against our double shoal Force hand, I think we're in good shape to ride out these otters to victory. Yeah, go otters. On otter 1 and otter 2. I'll name him Dasher and him Prancer. And you're now Comet. The cleaning solution, not named after the reindeer, of course. And you're Cupid. Not Cupid the reindeer, but Cupid the little cherubim. Take his archive. Okay, they're digging. They got another blue source. I like when we play Force and Dispute. They might have Consigns as well. But Consign can't stop Tamishi. It's funny how I said, you know, having this in your starting hand opens up to Thoughtseize, and that ended up winning us the game. Blue Belcher. What about it? Obviously that league didn't go great, but part of that was on me. We would have been 3-2. I think it's probably a pretty solid 3-2 deck most of the time. I think, you know, there's different things you could do. You could play main deck, Unable to Screams. You could switch up the counter spells. That didn't help. That didn't put it all on the screen. And you know, I think everyone has different opinions. It's like, well, this is bad, this is good, this is, you know, this is what I like. But overall, the strategy is pretty well known. The core of the deck is pretty decided. I think if you're trying to make it faster at comboing, you make it a worse deck in general, because the power of this deck is in the consistency and interaction, not necessarily in speed. And if you want to go speed, just play Red Belcher. If you want to try to win on turn 2, just play the Red Belcher list. And then, you know, your power comes in beating people before they can interact or kill you, but you trade off being a lot weaker to counter magic. The reality is, this meta has a lot less counter magic, and so it might be time for a red-green or a Red Belcher list to actually shine over the Blue Belcher build. But, yeah. I think overall the meta is slightly worse for Belcher than it was pre-bans and unbans, mostly because of Mox Opal decks. Urza Saga is just a hard card for us to beat, both in making tokens, right? It's an uncounterable way for them to like threaten us apply pressure, as well as being able to go just get a pithing needle without us being able to interact with it. We have to bounce it or destroy it or exile it. I think Hercule's Recall should probably be in the 7-5. I kind of forgot about it. At the same time, it wouldn't have helped us at all that league, and I do think there are more Faithless Looting decks than this, and so I hedged against Faithless Looting decks. You could just play one Soul Guide Lantern or one Tormod's Crypt maybe and try to get turn 3 Whirs for it. My thought was that I played multiples because I actually wanted to draw them versus just a Whir target. Because often when you're using a Whir target to get interaction, it slows you down so much that like your interaction has to be very good. Like it has to really defeat the opponent. And typically against something even like Dredge or Hollow One, or even our like Hollow Vine deck we were playing, like one time exiling the graveyard usually doesn't stop them fully. And so I'd rather just Whir for Lotus Bloom and try to win. You know what I mean? Most of the time. There are instances where like it can slow them down enough, right? But a lot of times, like you have to interact with their board and their graveyard. It's just not good enough. And so because we can't like Whir up a Rest in Peace, I want to play multiples and actually draw them and play. Like I want to play Soul Guide Lantern on turn 1, turn 2, not Whir for it on turn 4. But you could maybe try Tormod's Crypt. And again, it depends on how the meta shifts and stuff. And I'm going to be doing some deck tech videos and looking at like what is going on. I do think that just Mardu Energy is going to be top dog, and Dimir Frog lists are going to be second dog, and then it's going to be a whole lot of combo. What combo deck is best? I don't know. It might be Amulet Titan. It might be an Affinity. I guess Affinity isn't technically combo, but it's like a synergy-based aggro deck that's playing Kappa Cannoneers now as almost like a combo card. It might be like one of the Fleshraker lists or Broodscale is a Fleshraker list. So, yeah, some deck playing Fleshrakers, or it could be a Faithless Looting list, although I don't think so. I think that it's a lot easier to interact with looting lists, and that's why I've thought it should be unbanned. Opal is surprising to unban because fast mana is notorious. Like, I love Simian Spirit Guide. Please unban it, but they shouldn't. There's a reason why it's banned, and Mox Opal feels like that, and I'm just like, what? I'm really surprised by that choice, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Moxes end up getting banned again, but their one upside for Mox is if they don't want to ban Energy, if they're like, this is the new meta, Energy is the best deck, that's fine. If they decided that's fine, then Mox Opals aren't stronger than that, and they can leave them in the format. And we need other tools to fight against them. It's interesting that Sun Cleanser kind of just disappeared, right? But the reality is it doesn't actually slow down energy enough to be worth it. Because God of Souls is broken even if you remove the energy from it. Not broken, sorry. I misspoke. God of Souls is still strong even if you remove the energy abilities from it. The energy generating ability and using ability. But it's just Soul Warden with 2 toughness, which notably makes it better against a lot of things. I digress. Blue Belcher, I think it'll still be solid. I think it's a tier 2. I don't think it's the best deck in Modern anymore. I think part of that is just that like cards like Commandeer got worse. And in some ways, I think Energy actually got stronger, because before it had to play Ring in order to beat the other energy decks that played Ring. Now no one has to play Ring, and it can just play Orcish Bowmasters and be more aggressive. Yeah. And as long as Flage is around, they just have that inevitability. So we have to be fast, but still interact. And there is hope. Like, you can beat it, but there was a while there where, like, against Boros Energy, I was happy to see Boros Energy because I really beat it most of the time. It doesn't really feel like that against Mardu as much. I'm trying to think of what really shifted that. Because, like, Orcish Bowmaster doesn't actually feel that much different on its own. I guess main decking Thoughtseize is a lot different. Before it was just like, well, I just have to keep a couple key creatures off the board, and I won't die before I get my turn 4 win. Community does help, and having creatures helps. But their best draws are still just really hard to beat. Their medium draws we can beat, I guess is the point. But I think, you could obviously play around with these 2 slots, or these. If you want to change anything, change these cards. first, the fourth Tamishi, and the Tezzeret. You can change. I mean, I love this. I wouldn't change it. It's won me so many games. We didn't see it that league, but I think it's worth playing. Yeah, I'd start there to keep the rest of the deck the same, honestly. And you could swap these out for some Jawari if you want, but I don't. Counter Magic Force Spike isn't really good in a lot of matchups anymore. So, those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day.